Alrighty, what is going on? Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another video. Today, out on the river once again, and it is chilly. I think it's about 42 degrees right now. Fog's rolling over the water. Tide is still going out. Got a very low tide this morning. Hoping the fishing is good today. Think we're probably a few more weeks of river fishing before it really starts to slow down. Really gets tough out here, so trying to take advantage before that happens. Nothing crazy about today's video, today's adventure. Just another relaxing day of fishing, and I figured to start this one off, give you guys a quick run through of the starting lineup. 6 rods today with us to start. Of course, we've got some other baits in the box, but cold weather, end of fall, early winter. Here's what I'm starting with for my first 6. This can be interchangeable, but I've got a bladed jig right here. Could also throw a spinnerbait on there, underspin, but figured we'd try a little bladed jig action today, especially with low tide, fishing around some grass. A definite staple, as it's been this previous season and past years, just a big football jig. Got a crawfish trailer on the back. We've got some other trailers as well, but I think in general, big jig, crawfish, brown, green pumpkin patterns, especially for these cold water fish, can be money, especially for our bigger bites. Cannot beat a flat-sided crankbait. Any crawfish pattern will do, but if they're willing to chase, this thing can be absolute money. Got a glide bait, soft glide bait. This is the Nessie 9. You know, 9-inch sounds like a really big bait, especially to me, but when you hold it in your hand and when you fish it, it really doesn't seem that big. This year, late fall, colder weather months, I've had a few followers and a few bites on the glide, so figured we'd bust that out today. Number 5. We've got an A-rig this time of year, especially out on the river. They're eating crawfish, but they're also chasing bait. So sometimes this can be good for bass, but in a pinch, and maybe when things get tough and the green ones aren't biting, this can be good for some striper action as well. So I've got this here just in case they want to chase the A-rig. And last but certainly not least, if things get super tough, got a drop shot. Little weedless drop shot rig here. Green pumpkin hitworm on the back. I don't know if I'll be throwing that even at all today, but you never know. So yeah, guys, that is the video for today. Those are the baits that we're gonna start with. Seriously, I cannot believe this tide is moving out still. We must be on a negative tide. Yeah, this place changes quite a bit. Definitely week to week, month to month, can even be day to day. So who knows how it'll be fishing today. That's why we've got a bunch of different baits, a bunch of different things to throw at them. We'll see what they want, but should be a fun day. Looking forward to it. First bite of the day, son of a gun. Well, they're still here, that's good. Had a couple of rains come through and you never know how that can jack up a river, but one bite right there on the jig, so they're still here. Definitely a positive sign. Water's dirtier though than it has been, so that rain has had some effect on the river. There we go. Dude, they're not eating it. Just picking it up. Oh, I got bit. Dude, they're not eating it good today. Super weird. Not eating the whole jig. I'd have to go back down to a Texas rig. Got a drop shot in there. A little risky. Said I probably wasn't going to throw this at all today, and here we are, 20 minutes in. Can't stay hooked up, bro. Can't stay hooked up. Oh man, son of a gun. I thought I had a monster on. Dang it. Felt the tick. I'll go Texas rig. Last time, this is pretty much what happened. You know, I was getting bit on the jig. I just kept breaking off. I was running out of jigs, so I just changed to a Texas rig. I mean, it makes a lot of sense of what we're fishing. Serious trees and a lot of opportunity to break, but it didn't matter. Texas rig was getting bit just as good, maybe even better than the jig. I don't know if it maybe had something to do with the bait too. This is obviously a different color, different profile. It is max sense, so it's pretty stinky stuff. Yeah, we'll see. Show me the rig. Oh. Officially cycled through every single one of my baits and even tied on a couple of other ones and still yet to have a fish in the boat. Gotten bit, just haven't connected with one yet. Might be a drop shot kind of day, maybe. Not a big one, but finally put one in the dang boat. Alright, I know it's slow. Sometimes I miss the obvious answer to when it's slow. Slow down, downsize, get out the spinning rod. Not saying that really means anything, but I don't think it's a huge coincidence. We'll see. That's a good one. Drop shotty. There we go. Nice one. Alright. We'll do a little drop shotting today. There we go. Well, at least we figured out a little something now. A way to get bit. Let's go with a little bit smaller worm. Actually, this isn't even smaller, it's a little thinner. That should be money. That should be money. Feel it, I'm getting the vibes. We're gonna catch one right now, this cast. He's gonna pick it up. Not a giant, but a decent one. Yeah, there's a little pile of them right there. Got a couple of buddies with them too. Thank you, sir. All right. Not a bad one. I like that purple on the river. I get the most bang for a buck with these worms. I'll be honest, I didn't bring a whole ton of worms with me. Maybe just a couple of packs. Better one, better one. Feels like a largemouth. That head shake. I don't know. Spotty. Look at the colors on that one. That's a pretty one right there. That's pretty nice fighter. I don't know, man. Just I'm still in that phase as an angler where I don't care how I get bit. I just like getting bit. I just like catching fish. I mean, don't get me wrong. If I were to pick, yeah, I'd catch them on something moving, top water. But as long as I'm getting bit, I've have no complaints. Hello, Spotty. Check out those little spots. Actually, no, sorry, that's a largemouth. For a small largemouth, definitely some bigger ones in the mix. I know that for a fact. Jig and Texas rig does call those small fish, though. You just don't typically catch the little dainty ones on those baits, whereas this one you can get them in all sizes, which it's okay. But if we want a more consistent big bite, I think we probably will eventually change. Ah, you stinker. Drop shots are so dangerous, making your life hell. Ooh, it's a good one. I think it's a good spotted bass. I think it might be largy. Hard to tell. Oh, just another wink pecking at me. Ooh. There we go. Drop shot saves the day. It's a cool looking bass back here. Another spot. Some kind of hybrid. Almost looks like a smallmouth. Jeez, what's their problem? I've never had them make that noise at me before. I'm assuming that's not a positive thing. There we go. Man, you felt way bigger. You really did. I turned around, went pretty far back where it got super skinny and just wasn't getting bit consistently anymore, but turned around and I think I'm going to continue to fish this drop shot until these fish tell me not to. But it'll be interesting to go through. Ooh, that's actually a good one. I think. I was gonna say it's gonna be interesting to go through some of the areas that we fished fast and fish that jig and Texas rig. Some pretty fish back here. Not the biggest, but they're pretty. They're fun. Tell you what, in about a month, it's January, the winter, the true winter out here, that fish right there, I would do just about anything for. Who knows though? I mean, with the weather, the way the river's been fishing all year, everything's just super off. Maybe the bite will be really good in the winter. Just don't know. I'm not banking on it. Especially if we get some storms, some rain. Typically, I don't even touch the river in January and really wait till mid to end of February. But my point being, it's just hard to get any bite whatsoever during the cold months. I think I got a weedless Ned rig now. Finally hooked up with one. These took a while. This tree has had the better fish on it today. Okay. I feel like for these spots that they're grouped up on, it's almost better just to get them in as fast as you can, because if you play them, all the other ones in the school follow, and you kind of goof up the spot. Whereas if you just get them in quick, I think those other ones are less likely to follow and just kind of stay put, and you can get bit again. You don't have to wait for them to reset. There must be a massive wad of them under that one tree. It's like the 7th or 8th fish we've caught out of it. I mean, it's a big old tree. It's funny how certain spots they just group up. We couldn't do this all day, right? I think we've really milked this spot. There's no doubt in my mind there's more fish under this tree, but I think they're wise now. They're like, no, I just saw like 8 of you guys get plucked out eating that purple worm. I might sit back a little bit here. Oh, jumper. There we go. He's cold. Dude feels real cold. Slowed down for sure. I've gone through the stretch that I started at this morning and thought slowing down with this drop shot would really be the ticket, but not really. These fish just... Oh. See, if I had lost that fish, that would have been like a 3-pounder, but you get hung up on those logs real quick and they seem way bigger than they actually are. And I was just saying, it's been pretty bleak. However, I think one thing I can definitely say from today and the bites we've had, notably that one tree, fish are grouped up. So I think if you get a bite or two in an area, you gotta try to milk it for a little while. May have found one of those sections where they're just grouped up. I hope. That feels good. It's no little dink. Stay hooked up, bud. There we go. Oh, there's a nice one. Big fish of the day right here. Oh yeah. There we go. Oh my god, look how I had him hooked. Barely hooked. There's a nice one. There we go. There are some quality ones down there. Gotta weed through the micros. Yeah, they're not even micros today. I can't call these micros. There's chunks, we'll say. Fish like that have been a little bit harder to come by. Another good one. Ooh, got me in the tree. Well done, sir. You got me in the tree. Stay hooked. Whoop, got you out of the tree. Haven't seen him yet. Oh, another solid one. Sir, another little stretch of fish right here. Another group of fish, I should say. Yep. Gotta get them in quick so they don't follow them. Yeah, buddy. It's like a clone of the last one. The same cast. So I know there's more over there. I'm just curious. Am I gonna eat the jig yet? The jig might just be too much for him today. A little bit too big. Look at that exact same cast. The bites we had today, they were definitely just hitting the trailer, not the actual jig, so downsizing makes sense. Alright, so this will be real telling. No jig bites. Got the worm back in there. Oh. Something just hit it. Man, all these fish are like little ice cubes. Cold fish. Alrighty folks, about 1:30, gonna call it a day. Yeah, it was an interesting day. The river is constantly changing, and this time of year especially, it's just starting to slow down, and I think today's bite, today's pattern, the way we were catching them was a perfect representation of these fish are getting slow. They are not eating as much. The baits that we were catching them on before, in previous trips in the previous months, the moving baits, the bigger baits, even topwaters, just weren't working as good today. We really had to downsize, slow down, fish a little bit deeper. You know, it is that transition time, like I mentioned. The river will probably be good fishing wise, I don't know, maybe for another few weeks, and after that it just gets brutal. And started out the day with a big jig. I've had some success on that jig lately, even though it was substantially colder today, and I was getting bites, but they weren't eating the whole thing. They were just picking up the trailer. I think I missed 3 or 4 fish right off the get. Even tried a Texas rig, a little bit smaller profile. They weren't eating that. I'm not even sure how long it took to get a fish, but the biggest turning point of the day was when I actually, and I should have ate my own words because I said the one rod that we may not throw at all was the most productive one. We switched over to a little drop shot. As soon as we did that, we downsized the bait, we fished slower, smaller profile, and we got bit. I mean, the fish were here the whole time. You wouldn't think it based on the lack of bites and really hooking up, but as soon as we switched to that tiny little worm, we started putting fish in the boat, and they're definitely stacked up, they were grouped up. There's a few key trees we were able to pull off some quality fish. Yeah, I mean, that was pretty much the entire morning. I mixed it up with a few other baits, the spinnerbait, the glide, the A-rig, and really couldn't get anything going. I'd always resort back to that drop shot just to get bit. And again, not like we're catching dinks or anything. I mean, we're catching plenty of small fish, but we were catching a few solids in the mix. So overall, it really came down to just throwing that all day. And again, downsizing the bait was key. Even actually changed that jig, cut a bunch of the skirt, took the trailer off, and added just a little general on the back, the so-called Ned jig, a real finessey jig presentation. Actually, I've never used it on the river, but that even got a few bites and caught a few doing that. Overall, fun day. Can't complain. Always love a good tug, no matter what the size, no matter how we're doing it. So I will certainly take it. As always, guys, I thank you for watching, for coming along, and I will catch you guys in the next one.